What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, tigerfitness.com. Are people overtraining or are they under recovering? So I actually got this question a couple days ago and I just wanted to address it. Number one is kind of a silly question, right? And I don't mean to by any means minimize any question, but the bottom line is overtraining is under recovery, right? But I think we need to understand what overtraining is. The definition of overtraining is a central nervous system thing. And let's be honest, man, the only thing I know that happens to people that's kind of overtraining is rhabdomyolysis. And that is basically, it happens to CrossFitters a lot. It is an acute or over time situation where your muscles are overworked so much. It happens a lot in CrossFit where they start just, your body can't handle all the breakdown that's coming from it. So your kidneys are stressed and basically it's kidney failure. Your kidneys are in some way failing. A buddy of mine had it. He was literally pissing out what looked like motor oil. It was terrible. It was terrible. So rhabdo is overtraining, but I think we're talking about overtraining from a systemic thing. Like, I feel run down. I think I'm overtrained. Now, clinically, overtraining is a nervous system thing. Like your reaction time will be weird. Your appetite might be decreased. It really sucks. What happens is people do under recover. Acute overtraining, I look at as rhabdo, right? How do you avoid that? Well, you don't do crazy acute bouts of exercise. It's happened to Daniel and Bailey. It's happened to a lot of people. I've never had rhabdo and I hope to never have it. I don't think I train hard enough to get it anyway. But if you think about overtraining, look at a fight camp, right? Like even wrestling. Right now, my son is in the middle of high school wrestling season. He has morning wrestling session. He does weight training and then he does wrestling again at night. You would think he'd be overtrained, right? Wrestling's hard. Like they're going for 2 hours straight, live wrestling, drilling, then he's weight training, and then he's doing wrestling again. And he's fine. He's good. They're mitigating that great, right? So he's not overtrained. Now, if he can train 3 times a day and not be overtrained, do you think doing an extra set of bench press is really going to overtrain you? So overtraining, in my opinion, is doing too much. Does that make sense? So there is the minimum effective dose. So the goal with bodybuilding is not to overdo it past the point where you're getting results. So if I do, let's say 2 sets, and I know the first set is getting 100% muscle recruitment for that. Second set, you're at about 50% of that. Then we know that third set's 50% of that. 4 sets, 50% of that. Third set, blah, 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 blah. So as you go on, the sets decrease in their efficacy. So looking at that, doing 1 to 2 working sets per exercise, let's say even per body part where you're doing 3 times a week, the same body part, let's say you're hitting 4 to 5 working sets a week, that's adequate. That's going to get you all the gains you can really get. Anything over that is insurance, but you got to mitigate that, right? Like I like doing pump sets. I know they might not be leading to gains, but I like doing them. I'm not going to not do them. I know what the science says, but I also know that, man, I love repping out some flies and feel like my chest is going to burst out of the skin, right? Like that's cool, right? Like we train for how it makes us feel mentally and how it makes us look physically and also the health benefits, right? So if you look at overtraining, I think a lot of people get it confused. Let's talk about pre-workouts. See, a lot of them just get you spiked and then you crash. The crash is crazy. When I take a pre-workout, I don't want my heart beating out of my chest. I can't do a set to failure with that. No, I want something that gets me focused. I want my mind to just go, I'm gonna get all the weight. I want my body to feel like I can go crush it, make the gains of my life. That's why the pre-workout I use is Ambrosia Kinetic. Ambrosia Kinetic is the greatest mushroom-enhanced mind and body performance booster pre-workout ever created. Go to tigerfitness.com now. That's tigerfitness.com. Coupon code MAHA, M-A-H-A, MAHA. MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. And you get 10% off, not just Kinetic, but the entire site. Go to tigerfitness.com now, save and make the gains you've been wanting. Working too hard isn't overtraining, it's just unnecessary work. But is that work unnecessary? Do you enjoy that work? Does that work keep you going back to the gym? Does it make you feel better mentally? Like I can argue all day that the cold plunge isn't worth it. I can. I still do 3 minutes in it every morning because the mental benefits I get from it, the way I'm doing something I don't want to do that's hard, and it gets me going. We know there's a dopamine release from it. So I'm like, this is great. I'm going to keep doing it every single morning. It makes me feel good, makes me achieve better things. I think it makes me a little bit less sore. Hey, let's rock and roll with it, right? Cold shock proteins, all that different stuff, right? Like we can argue says about cold plunging. Let me get back on track. So overtraining is essentially under recovering, but I think overtraining would happen during the training session. Whereas recovering is a separate issue. Are you recovering enough to be able to go back to the gym and get what you need to get? If you're truly maximizing what you're doing in the gym, you do need to recover. A lot of people going in there 6 days a week, number one is, are they doing too much? Number two is, are they truly recovering enough to be able to go back in the gym and give it their all, not just physically, but mentally? Days off the gym are necessary. Just not going to the gym, you're away from it, you're not caught up in it. If you go too often, and I speak from experience, it ends up more like a job than it is a recreational activity. So it keeps weightlifting fun. The days per week I see being the sweet spot are 3 to 4 days. How do you structure that? Well, 3 days would be full body every day you go. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, however you want to split it up. Full body, let's say do 1 to 2 sets per body part. Boom, boom, boom. You're getting at least 3 working sets per body part, up to 6. I think the range is 4 to 5 working sets. Working sets, I mean working, like you're going to failure. I think that's the sweet spot per week from my interpretation of the data, but some people might disagree, and that's fine. Way you do it with a 4-day split, I personally do upper lower, but I focus on different things. One upper body day, I might do 2 chest exercises, and one upper body day, I might do 2 back exercises. One upper body day, I might do 2 shoulder exercises. Then I do 1 exercise of the other muscles. Lower body, same thing. One lower body day, I prioritize quadriceps or the front of my legs, my anterior. And the next lower body day, I prioritize my glutes and my hamstrings, the posterior. But I'm still going to do at least 1 set of the other muscle group, whether that's quadriceps, whether that's hamstrings. Sometimes I prioritize glutes over hamstrings, sometimes hamstrings over glutes. Sometimes I go that full posterior chain, like a reverse hyper machine, things like that. So as I look to that, as I look to structuring it, I don't think it's that easy. It would be extremely hard to overtrain, training 4 days a week. But then you look at the off days. I also like to do sprints. I also like to do mobility work. I like to do athletic training. So I have to kind of maneuver it so my body recovers, because on off days, if I'm doing sprints, that's a lot of trauma to my lower body, right? I'm doing Tabata on the air bike. I'm doing sprints at the field. Yeah, I'm going to have to mitigate that work and my nervous system and my muscles and my joints. So that's why I don't recommend, if you do 5 days a week, you're overdoing it, but that's fine. If you like doing 5 days a week, if you feel it gets you better results, it will get you better results because you're enjoying it more, right? 6 days a week, yeah, okay, do it, but it's going to be really tough to keep up that intensity for 30 years. So the goal is do it consistently. 3 to 4 days a week, I feel most people can keep up with that for their life. 6 days a week, once you have kids, a career, all that, it's going to be really tough to do. It just is. So overtraining versus under recovering, they go hand in hand. If you are recovering properly, you are not going to have a systemic abuse, meaning you're not going to have systemic overtraining. However, you can have overtraining or rhabdo within one workout session if you push it too hard. So the thing is, you need to know your limits, of course, test them, but know when too much is happening and listen to your body. If you're feeling lethargic, if you're feeling run down, if your joints are killing you, if you're having trouble sleeping, if you're waking up with aches and pains, you need to take account of that. Make sure your nutrition's on point, make sure your hydration's on point, make sure your electrolytes are on point, and make sure your sleep is on point. If you're not getting at least 6 to 9 hours, 6 is don't get 7, okay? But if you can only get 6 due to your schedule, I understand. I've been there, done that. Still do it a lot. But those are things to look at. So overtraining versus under recovering, I think they're 2 different things. However, if you're paying attention to one, you will avoid the other. Hopefully that helped you guys. By the way, go to tigerfitness.com. That's tigerfitness.com. This shirt, everything on the site, 10% off the entire site. Coupon code MAHA. Make America Healthy Again, MAHA. MAHA gets 10% off. Put that in the coupon code. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click on the notification bell, and of course, remember, that's not a game.